This is Scott Richmond.
And Arnie Sherman.
You're listening to What Do You Know on Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
Scott, how you doing?
Arnie, that's a nice switch up. You're saying hello first.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm saying hello first. I got here first. I'm saying hello first.
I like that.
So this week, we merged two of our favorite topics.
Right. What are they?
Which is entrepreneurship. You know, Montana leads the nation in business startups and entrepreneurship. And we've talked about that before. We've had a number of guests on here who have, in the recent past, started new businesses. And
right.
we're always interested
in
looking
small
at,
business.
Right. You know, caterers and food delivery companies and technology companies. And we are going to be able to mix that this week with our other favorite topic, which is food. Food, once again.
We love food.
And this week we have Bridget Baxter, who has a company which I partake. I have to admit, I have knowledge on the air. In full disclosure, I eat her product on a very regular basis, which is a variety of nut butters. And the company's called Moxie Nosh.
Wonderful. I've heard of that company.
And it's selling like gangbusters. And she, like a number of other Montana business people, have to have a number of jobs in order to live here. So she is a licensed real estate agent. She's a property manager. She's involved in the old Sawmill District project here in town. And in what little spare time she has left, or vice versa, she is the proprietress of a burgeoning food company here in town.
Right.
You know, you can find it at a good food store. You can find her product almost all over town, and maybe even in other locations outside of Montana. So I'm anxious to take a break here,
right,
and talk with Bridget about how her business is growing and what's her plans for the future and how does she compete? Because a lot of people in that space.
Right.
You go into a grocery store, you see lots of nut butters
fighting for shelf space. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's organic.
It's organic. It's
natural.
It's natural.
It's local Montana. People like that.
Right.
All right. Well,
it may not be organic. It may be natural. We'll have to ask her exactly what it is because there are different butters with different mixtures. But we'll have to find out all about that. And of course, as always, give our advice about what she ought to be doing with her business to make it better.
That's one thing we give freely is advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love Bridget. She's a bright woman and she's very accomplished and smart. And I'm sure this is going to be a great learning experience for our audience.
And for us, she's bringing some product for us to sample,
which we love to eat on the air because it sounds better. It tastes better on the air.
It's better for us. We can survive the entire show time.
Absolutely. All right. When we come back, we'll have Bridget Baxter from Moxie Nosh. We are, what do you know, proudly sponsored and supported by Engel and Volkers, a luxury real estate, and our good friend Dawn Maddox. Back after this. All righty, we are back with Bridget.
It's hard to focus on Bridget when I'm looking down and seeing Moxie Nosh product here. She brought with her the cashew butter, which we go through a lot of that, and the trail mix butter. But tell me,
identify yourself.
Yeah, tell our listeners who you are and how this company come about.
Moxie Nosh came about from a desire to do my own thing. As well as promote health. So my background is in health and wellness, and I've always been super passionate about food and health. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I started just experimenting with a bunch of different peanut butter recipes, actually. Because as a child, I grew up eating peanut butter sandwiches pretty much all day, every day. I was a very picky eater. So it started with that. And it kind of morphed into experimenting with other nuts, almonds, cashews, walnuts.
Wait. You're getting really deep into it right now. I want to know more about you, though. Who are you?
Who am I?
Who's Bridget Baxter? Come on. This is important.
She's not Bridget Baxter Burney from,
from Meredith Baxter Burney?
Yeah, right. She's not related to her, right? You're not related to Meredith Baxter.
Where are you from?
So
Tell our listeners.
Okay. I'm from Great Falls, Montana.
Born and bred in Montana.
Yes, Montana girl. I've been in Missoula for the last 10 years.
Okay.
I came for grad school.
At the U?
At the university. Met my now husband during that time. And after graduating, we decided to stay. And so here we are.
Were you always interested in food?
No, actually not. But I've always been interested in health.
Okay,
and healthy
and
things.
Why? Did you grow up healthy?
No, I didn't. I didn't at all,
See,
actually.
Arnie, the inquiring minds want to know. So what does that mean?
Yes, you do.
You didn't grow up healthy. What does that mean? You just weren't eating the right foods?
Well, eating peanut butter sandwiches all day long is not really.
That's not the right thing.
That's not a good balance.
So I grew up in a really traditional family. We were red meat and potatoes. And if there was a vegetable, it was green beans from the can.
Oh.
And so I watched my parents be really healthy or really unhealthy growing up. And once I got to college, it turned into an interest of mine of how I could be healthier.
Oh, cool.
You mean green beans you don't get them from the can?
From the can.
The Green Giant? There's some other place to get green beans?
What was your favorite place to eat growing up in Great Falls?
Oh gosh.
4Bs?
No. But we did a lot of Pizza Hut. I know. I feel so bad saying that, but that's the truth.
Is that right?
We did a lot of Pizza Hut. Mm-hmm.
So you basically, so coming here was actually your thing it turned you around. It was like,
well, she came from a limited culinary environment.
Clearly.
In Great Falls and came here.
And Moxie Nosh is an outgrowth of that changeover.
So where'd the name come from? It's a cool name. I like it.
It is.
It has a little bit of a Yiddish, inflection because Nosh is a Yiddish word for nibbling on foods.
Well, let's show Bridget how we would use it. Are you going to eat that over there?
No, I don't need a Nosh right now.
See?
Yeah. What are you going to nosh on later?
What are we going to nosh on later?
Know, anybody in New York would know that.
When everybody in Florida next week, it'll be like, hey, what are we going to nosh on?
In fact,
I like it.
This name
Nosh
would be a bigger seller in New York and Florida and L.A. where there are large ethnic populations because they would resonate with them.
Absolutely.
They like the name Nosh.
All right, maybe we'll get it. People in New York and Florida hear our show, so maybe we'll get in touch with them.
We'll get the rabbi to certify it, and that'll make it all perfect.
Then I'll really have made it
then you've made it.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
So the name came from?
The name came from, to be honest, the name came from hours of synonyming and brainstorming
Sure.
and a lot of wine drinking.
Who?
Me.
Who else who were you drinking the wine with? By yourself?
A lot of times by myself. Wow. Sometimes with my husband, sometimes with friends. But I knew I wanted a creative name. And I didn't want the name to define almond and cashew butter.
Sure.
I wanted it to be a bold word, which Moxie means bold, energy, fierceness. And then Nosh obviously is the food.
And for our listeners, if they look at our website for the radio show, they'll be able to see the packaging and the product because Bridget brought it with us, and we're going to share it. What nut butter, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew is a very competitive space in the food, range.
It is.
You go into any grocery store and you go to that part of the store where they have butters and nuts and jellies, and there's dozens of them. Were you aware that you were getting into such a competitive environment when you did this?
I was. Mm-hmm.
And why'd you still persevere? What drove you to say, this is a tough market space, there's people in it that have been for years, some of the oldest brands in the space have diversified lately. You can find, Peter Pan, almond butter, when they didn't have... You thought of all that and still decided to move forward?
I did, because I thought I could do something that was a little bit better. A lot of people relate almond butter, peanut butter, any kind of nut butter to being something healthy. It's a healthy fat.
Yes.
However, if you look really closely at a lot of labels out there, there is a lot of added sugar or hydrogenated oils.
Oh, I know.
A majority of the product, and people don't know that. So the goal was to put something out there that, it's in a really busy space, but it's a lot better for you than a majority of what's out there on the shelf.
So is your product natural and organic, or
it's not organic, but it is all natural. There's no added sugars, no added preservatives, no added hydrogenated oils.
And truthfully, in this particular product, is there any reason for it to be organic or not to be organic? Or
I don't think so, no. I think it's more important to have a natural product that doesn't have additives in it.
Sure.
It also helps me bring it in at a better price point. So it's more accessible.
Well, for instance, I'm looking at the Trail Mix, not Moxie Nosh, or Trail Mix butter. And
which is her newest product.
Her newest product, and has some of my favorite things in it, okay? Which include flax seeds. I love flaxseed.
He's the only guy I know who
And
really
chia
loves
seeds.
chia and
really
flax
do.
seeds.
I do too, actually. That's why I made
They make
it.
things hearty. They make things better. I don't know. We talked about that the other day with our guests from Firefly. They said a similar thing about nuts and seeds. This is wonderful. Where do you sell this, Bridget?
Well, currently we're on the shelf at Good Food Store, Orange Street Food Farm, both fresh market locations.
That's excellent.
And then in the summertime, we're at Clark Fork Farmers Market.
And do you have a stand there or a tent there?
Yeah, a booth. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
And how many different SKUs do you have?
Right now we have the cashew butter, almond butter, and trail mix, which are the year-round regular flavors. And then seasonally we introduce the pumpkin spice cashew butter, which is super popular. And then a gingerbread cashew butter.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And people put the butter on bread or on crackers or on
sliced apples.
Fruit, right?
Yeah. Some other creative things you can do with it is you can add it into sauteed veggies, so the almond butter, cashew butter into a stir fry. You can marinate chicken with it, add a little lemon juice and Worcestershire. And
that sounds excellent.
Yeah.
Where do you produce it? Where do you manufacture all this?
Here in Missoula, at Moonlight Kitchens, we do everything by hand. My husband, myself, and a really awesome friend, we're typically usually the ones in the kitchen grinding the nuts, filling the jars, putting the lids on, putting the labels on.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to do that? I was going to say, how long does it take you to do like a run for the next couple of weeks?
A run. So we've gotten really good, but we've had a couple years of practice. We can produce about 50 jars an hour by hand right now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. And you keep on, and obviously people keep on ordering it. So you have an assembly line process.
We do.
So what happens when Safeway or some big chain approaches you? Are you going to be able to say yes to them? And if you do, what does that mean for your business?
I will be able to say yes because I don't want to say no. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And so at that point, ideas that we have are adding more people on for manufacturing or looking at outsourcing that, which we're not quite there yet, but those are options in the future.
And do you sell online?
We do. Yep. On our website, Moxie.com.
And how big a portion of the business is the online business?
I would say that is a smaller portion right now. We are still working on getting that really fired up. Right now, the local economy is really supporting us, which is really awesome.
Well, for something like this, and at your price point, which is higher than the regular products that are out there, Skippy, Jif, whatever, people, when they're going to spend $10 or $12 or $15 for a product, probably want to have tasted it somehow.
Yes.
Before they spend it.
Sample.
Something like sample.
Yeah.
Because some peanut butters, you eat, you don't like. I don't like, Adams, for example. It doesn't do anything for me. And I don't particularly like Trader Joe's peanut butter.
I love almond butter.
Yeah.
From Costco, believe it or not. They make a good almond butter.
Yeah, put a lot of sugar in it. That's why you like it.
It's organic. Well, do they? I don't know. I put that on apples.
Read the label.
Read the label.
Well, Kathy, my wife, does, and she does not buy stuff that does not have the proper ingredients. That's why she would love this.
Yeah.
So if you were to outsource, what's the tipping point where you would need to outsource? Like, what's the volume that you would need to hit to say, we got to go to Seattle or wherever?
We would probably need to be doing over, I would say, 5,000 units a month consistently.
5,000 units, and a unit is a jar.
Jar, yep.
Over those three SKUs, the three key SKUs.
And they're 12-ounce jars.
And they're 12-ounce
for our
jars.
listeners who haven't seen it.
Well, what happens is when you go to a bigger retailer outside of here, like a Safeway, and they've got 200 stores, they'll tell you how they want it, right? I want it in this size. I want it at this price point. It's the old, when you go to like a Costco, you hear all these stories about people going to Costco and I'll take 10,000 of those, but it needs to be this, and at this price.
Well, and you don't even have to go into a chain to get to that point. You could be a Chelsea Market in New York, for example.
Right.
Or you could do the Christmas market, in New York on 42nd Street, the average vendor that has a booth there for 3 months is $300,000 in business. Of course, the booth costs $60,000.
Right.
So you have to be able to invest that kind of money, but it doesn't have to be necessarily a chain taking you on.
No.
You know, for example, Lucky's Market is coming here. They're going to open soon, and I'm sure you'll talk to them about taking local product. And Lucky has markets in 10 or 12 other states.
Yeah.
And if it does well here, I mean, you could easily be able to migrate into some of their other locations in in some premier locations. They're in they're in Wyoming. They're in the ski resort areas.
Billings.
They're in Billings. They're in Denver. There are lots of other places where they are operating and opening, and they're expanding.
Yep. Our guest is Bridget Baxter with Moxie Nosh. You're listening to What Do You Know? Proudly supported and sponsored by Engel & Volker's Luxury Real Estate. Bridget, question: how many units are you creating now? Like, what's a monthly run look like? You don't have to give us the exact number, but
So a couple hundred.
Couple hundred.
Yeah,
so that's a lot.
Yeah, our busy seasons are definitely May through December. January through April this time of year are a little slow. But farmers market, holiday shows definitely increase our sales substantially.
And do you desire to grow this thing bigger? I mean, do you really want to make this the thing?
I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know you've got other talents that you work on and things that you do professionally.
Well, we mentioned on one of the other shows about, the guys in Chicago who had the X Bar company, the protein bar company.
Oh, right.
And they sold for $900 million. Two guys started with $5,000. And in 4 years, they grew to $900 million company. Well, that's who they sold to Kellogg or whatever.
But look at like Chobani.
Yeah.
Down in, in Twin Falls or Idaho? What is it, Twin Falls?
Well, the yogurt field is crazy. Every time you go in, there's a new yogurt out there of some sort. There must be 50 different brands.
It's incredible.
That are out there.
And then were you the one that told me that the yogurt field was next to the field where they take the leftovers and they make like is it Kind bars?
No, I didn't tell you that.
Not Kind bar.
Somebody told me. Somebody.
Conversation.
But there are other businesses that are springing off of having the yogurt fields down there. And so it's very interesting how industries are built around, a tipping point opportunity. So
I was going to say, while I'm talking, why don't you let Scott sample?
Did you
serve you something up?
Oh, I've eaten it all. So you serve him some of the trail. I want to see his reaction while we're opening a box of Simply Salt crackers, and we're going to put the trail mix.
By the way, it's hermetically sealed, and it's being opened for the first time by Bridget.
That's the crackers, not the jar.
Right, the crackers.
But what I like, Scott, on our show is I
want to see the jar, though. Now, is it, okay, so is it hermetic? Whoa, what is that?
So those are dried cherries.
How cool is that? So wait a second, to describe for our audience what we're seeing, this beautiful jar of trail mix almond butter, right?
Peanut butter.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
it does have
I have no allergy.
in it, though.
It does have almonds.
It does have almonds in it. So our trail mix is unique because it comes with the dried cherries on top. So when you open the jar, you get to stir them in, and that is also
or eat them all.
And that is also how we ensure each jar has the same amount of cherries.
That's good.
So oh my god!
Because nothing is worse to get something that's supposed to have like M&Ms or cherries or something in, and it's supposed to be mixed in, and you go through and you don't get it. You think you've been shorted. It's like ice cream when you have chunks of chocolate and you can't find any. You don't want to be shortchanged. Not in the food industry.
The butter
it's like surgical
on the cracker,
operation
on the napkin. She's serving it, and hey, I'll take the first bite.
I've had this before, so I want you to see your reaction.
Well, let me give you. First of all, it looks beautiful. It looks like it's nice and rich.
Eat it upside down. Eat it upside down.
I'm watching you.
Turn it upside down
like this.
Yeah. So the butter touches your taste buds.
Oh, we're learning an Arnie.
Hey, Arnie.
There's an Arnie method to eating.
Come on, I've learned something over the years. I've even learned that most people open bananas the wrong way.
How do you open a banana?
Supposed to not from the stem. You're supposed to peel them from the tip. Because that's the ripest part.
I didn't know that.
It ripens before the stem.
Every show. Yeah.
This is traveling around the world as a connoisseur. I ask the fundamental questions and learn.
At the office about this.
How do you open a banana?
How do you open a banana, and how do you eat peanut butter? All right, put it down with your tongue.
Let's do it.
But now,
Come on.
I want to say something. I'm smelling it. It smells excellent. It smells like a very rich peanut butter. I'm now going to taste it.
It tastes better than it smells.
Oh, I'm coughing because I have to cough. But
Okay, now see,
mmm.
it's an addiction. We're seeing the early stages of addiction.
Oh my God. It's not super sweet, which I like. I like that it's...
Yeah, you don't want it to be like candy.
No. And the cherries are really interesting because different texture.
Yeah, pretty good. Isn't that
Seeds.
good?
So
It
it's
tastes
like
so natural.
trail mix in a butter form. Like the trail mix you grab a handful of, it's that in butter.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Well, think about it. You can take that and add more fruit by putting it on an apple piece.
I think spacemen have to take this up with them into the capsule.
Well, you never know where people are looking for quality. We've talked on the air before
This is
about,
delicious, Bridget.
like about
Thank
Jenny's ice cream.
You want more?
Yeah, please.
was gonna
Be
say-
bold, eat better. It's really good.
We've talked on the air before about Jenny's ice cream, Columbus, Ohio, that
Yeah.
sells for $11.65 a pint at the good food store. That's twice as much as any other ice cream. But the story
How much is this?
and the ingredients
Thank you. Arnie wants some?
and the way the story and the ingredients and her manufacturing and the care she takes justifies the price. You can't taste ice cream that good in a jar from anywhere else.
Where do you get all your ingredients from?
So we source a lot of them currently through natural grocers because we aren't large enough to have any buying power with some of the bigger players like UNFI. And then we get...
What does UNFI stand for?
No,
whatever. It's a food thing.
Yeah.
Like Food
It's a
Service of America.
It's like, Cisco. Mhm.
Okay.
So we do get some ingredients from Costco, and then the rest are sourced online.
Where do you get the cherries from? That's from natural.
Cherries are those are nuts.com, but the cherries are a strictly dried cherry, no oils added, no sugar added, which is really hard to find a dried piece of fruit without anything added into it.
I was going to say, so it's raw. It's raw and dried.
Mm-hmm.
What made you, why this? Like, why was this the thing? Like, you could have done anything. You could have made anything. Why a spread or did you love peanut butter and jelly growing up or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up on peanut butter sandwiches, not peanut butter and jelly, but straight peanut butter.
With milk?
With milk, yes. Sometimes with milk, yeah.
And was there one brand in particular that you preferred?
I have to be honest, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I grew up on Jif,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Jif. I mean,
which has the most
Creamy?
sugar.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Creamy or nutty?
Crunchy.
Crunchy.
Me too. I'm crunchy.
All the
I
way.
do super
Crunchy
crunchy.
all the
With
way, yeah.
most crunch you can
No,
get.
what's the point?
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to have a little crunch.
That's what you've got crunch in this.
I love this. What? I
You need
what?
some milk.
Right. What's next?
I was going to say, give him some of the.
No.
Don't taste the cashew butter straight up.
I will.
And then-
but this is really good.
You may have
My wife
to.
can be very jealous.
You may have to run out of the studio and get yourself a bottle of water.
I usually have a drink in the studio. This is good. It's good to work through it.
Well, bourbon and peanut butter doesn't always.
I know.
And other nut butters. So I want to follow up.
I think it's really. Sorry to interrupt, but I think it's ballsy to go out and do that. To go make something like this and to just experiment and try something. And now that's amazing that you've gone that far. You've been able to get it distributed at obviously all the well-known stores in town.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you looking for? Are you looking for funding? Are you looking to grow this business? Like, if you can make this your full-time thing, what do you need to do to make that happen?
It would be to get greater distribution. A huge goal on my list is Amazon. And in order to get onto Amazon as a food product, they have some strict guidelines around your seal for your product. And so that currently is a problem for me because I don't have access to that equipment to seal the jars, how Amazon requires them to be sealed. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, nobody in Montana has that piece of equipment either.
You're kidding
So I
me.
either need to purchase it myself.
How much is it?
Depending on the piece, it's anywhere from $6,000 to $30,000.
Wow.
So I either need to purchase that myself or make the decision to have somebody else manufacture.
Capital expenditure. But you would do that if you had a huge order from Amazon and a commitment.
Absolutely.
Now, are you planning on expanding the sizes or making the sizes smaller? I guess that would be dependent on who wants to distribute it.
Yeah. And, during the holidays, we do have 4-ounce jars that come out for little holiday packs. They're great stocking stuffers.
A sampler.
Yeah, samplers. But majority of the time year round, we have our 12-ounce jar.
How much is a 12-ounce jar?
So
what does it retail
they
for?
retail for $13.
Wow. Well, it's specialty.
It is.
And it's homemade and handmade.
So you're going to grow this business. You're going to go for more distribution. Are there other products you have in mind?
Yes.
Can you divulge what you're thinking?
Sure.
Or services or something tied into that.
Yeah. So we've got a couple things. I
like us at the early stages of conversation.
Me too.
With someone who's just reaching trajectory with their business to see how things go. So go ahead. What do you got in mind?
So we have a few things coming down the pipeline. One is we are in the early stages of experimenting with energy bites. Super popular right now in the health and food trends. You can take a jar of trail mix, add a cup of oatmeal to it, raw oats, and another half a cup of flax seeds, mix it up, and create little energy bites.
Yes.
Like power balls or something?
Yeah, power balls in seconds. We will be rolling those out this year for farmers market season.
Oh, cool.
Doing a soft launch to see if it can get a little traction. And then we also, in the next month or two, are going to roll out a delivery service here in Missoula is where we're going to start it. Businesses and people at their houses are going to be able to order Moxie Nosh with a loaf of bread.
Wow.
A locally made loaf of bread. I can't say who yet.
Okay.
And then maybe an assortment of fruit.
Wow.
So it goes in your office kitchen. It goes in your home kitchen. If you're hungry, you don't have food, you need a quick snack. It's there. It's healthy. It's not from candy from the vending machine.
And you're not required to put calories on there. What's the calorie count?
No, not currently, due to the size of our company. As we grow and we hit a certain threshold, we'll be required to have the nutrition facts included. But right now, we're just required to have ingredients.
Right. Do we know what they are yet? I mean, do you know what they are per ounce?
Roughly. It's pretty standard across the board.
What did I just eat?
You gotta go run around the gym.
It's pretty standard. Just like all the other brands, per 2 tablespoons, you're looking at about 180 to 200 calories.
Right.
14 to 16 grams of fat, 6 to 9 grams of protein.
Right.
I keep a jar of peanut butter in my office before I head out to work out because it's good energy. That gives you a thing of good energy before you start to do some exercise.
Well, nut butters are, of if you're going to snack, if you're going to nosh, they're a good nosh. If I'm home and I'm, watching TV and I'm trying to watch what I eat, I will take a teaspoon of cashew butter before I will, eat a candy bar or have a cookie or something.
Better for you.
Yeah. I feel better. I feel better. And it's filling. 1 teaspoon is, right out of the jar is perfectly good. You're not going to be craving, to eat the whole jar.
Right.
Unless the Yankees lose or the Giants lose.
I was going to say, if you're watching one of our beloved New York teams
and they lose, like after
you might eat the whole jar.
After Porzingis, is out for the season, I might have eaten a whole jar.
Right, 12 ounces. Give him the sampler at that point.
Well, give Scott some of the cashew butter. See what he thinks of that. I like that really well.
This is Bridget Baxter with Moxie Nosh here on What Do You Know? Proudly supported and sponsored by Engel and Volker's Luxury Real Estate.
See, that has a different texture.
And there are no cherries.
No.
So it's a little creamier. So the cashew butter's got coconut oil, cinnamon, and sea salt.
Ooh, now love cinnamon. So you put cinnamon in anything, it's good.
I shake some into a cup of coffee in the morning when I have it.
I smell it. It's what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
For Passover. What's that? What's the
Baruch Hu es Adonai Baruch. You can eat the cashew butter for Passover. Yeah, I know for the.
Oh, that's different.
Good.
So imagine
again, not super sweet, which I love. I hate stuff that's too sweet.
And that's the problem with, as you mentioned, with Jif.
Yeah.
You get enough on this from the cinnamon.
I love cinnamon.
That gives you the real kick.
And cashews are naturally a sweeter nut. So when you compare it to the trail mix or the almond butter, it is going to taste a little lighter and sweeter and creamier. And that's just coming from the properties of the nut.
Is that right? Wow, that would be really good. That cashew butter, yeah, you could do a lot with that cashew butter.
Well, she mentioned, which I'd never thought of, but I'm going to try
Chicken?
it. Well, putting it on when you do stir fry.
Stir fry.
You know, have a lot of, a lot of it says put, peanut oil or peanut. You can use this and mix it in and give it a really interesting flavor.
Definitely with pasta, too. Like, mix that with pasta and onions.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be so good.
Yeah.
That's
Add
delicious.
a little lemon juice to a scoop of that and add it into your pasta.
Great idea. Do you like the pasta over at the Good Food? You know, the lemon pasta that they have there?
I've never tried it, but I've seen it in the deli. It looks delicious.
It's addicting. If you eat that, you can't stop.
I do other things. I mix it in with yogurt, with vanilla yogurt even.
Oh, really?
Peanut, cashew butter. Just,
It can go in smoothies.
Goes in smoothies, all that.
Kids eat that all the time.
So back to the business, because that's what we like.
That's what we like.
Why did you not just go straight up like I would assume a number of other entrepreneurs would do and do a peanut butter? You don't. It is absent from the array of butters.
When you have,
that is a really good question, especially because my love
it's peanut
is
butter,
peanut
right?
butter.
You would think
yeah.
you say I could make a better peanut butter than Jif.
Yeah.
I could do better than that.
I think it's because I love peanut butter. If I could choose between any of them, it would be the peanut butter first. But I think there is a real need for a peanut alternative. And also, I think the trendiness and the newness of working with an almond or cashew butter is appealing to people. But then having the peanut butter as an option is always a great fallback on.
So my nut fantasy for you is this. I love those Virginia cooked peanuts that are really, really crunchy. Have you ever got Costco carriers and other people? The big jars where they boil them in oil or whatever they do. And, you could have organic oil or whatever, natural. But they make them really super crunchy, those peanuts. And if you took those super crunchy, upscale, top of the end peanuts and mixed it in with a butter that you created, that would be awesome.
that would be.
That would be something you could use in all kinds of ways. Icing on cupcakes, all kinds of stuff. Wouldn't be super sweet, but it would have that extra crunch to it.
Do you like more crunch?
I do, and I think that there's applications where the crunch would, add something to it. On pretzels, on all sorts of things. But I'm just saying, I like the nut, but sometimes you don't want to just take a handful of those things and eat them. They're same calories or whatever, but a butter with that I could put on an apple or use in some other fashion that had extra crunch to it would be a useful addition to her repertoire of nut butters.
We call it the Moxie Nosh Arnie
Special. It's like an
Limited
episode
edition.
It's like an episode. It's like an episode with Larry David. You got to pay extra to get your special name on the on the menu.
Well, it begs the question: have you gone into any restaurants around town and had them do versions like special recipes or dishes prepared with your stuff?
That is one of our 2018 goals.
Oh, good.
To get 5 restaurants on board. So,
That's
someone, for example, it's up for sale now. Doc's is up for sale.
Yeah, the sandwich place.
Yeah, but they have peanut butter, but they don't use anything special.
Probably not.
If they had yours.
Service America.
If they were using the trail mix special with maybe slices of orange on the bread. I mean, you could do something interesting.
Go to Burn Street. I say Burn
Street
Bistro. They're
Bistro.
always inventive in trying new things. They're a good one to go to. The Good Food Store, since you're already in there. Maybe they create a peanut butter and jelly with Moxie Nosh.
Some of the caterers in town that are doing
Firefly, our good friends at Firefly.
would add that. They do parties for kids, and while this is not a kids product necessarily, you could add that to a birthday party or a kids party kind of thing.
Does your daughter Has she eaten any of this, your new baby?
She hasn't yet, but she's almost 5 months. So here in the next month, she'll be trying solid foods for the first time. And I already know what her first bite is going to be. It's going to be cashew butter.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Because the health principles.
Yes.
Get her addicted early. Mommy, I need the cashew butter. Bad.
Now.
I got an A today.
Like a method.
I had an A today on my test. I have one more cracker.
So hopefully we get a smile when she tastes it for the first time. If not, we won't share the video.
I can see it now. Mommy, can I? No, you've had your share. Right.
Arnie's...
Daddy, could I have some? Sure. I give her some butter. Come on. Don't deprive my daughter
She'll
of.
be hiding it in her crib.
Yeah.
I like Arnie's interpretation of a 5-month-old.
Yeah, right.
Or we'll say 6 months.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Give me. I need it. Bad, Dad.
Because she knows all those words right now.
Oh, yeah, right. I know. But you remember all the old skits about asking Mommy for it, then Daddy, then going to Grandma. Somebody's going to give in. Someone's going to give me what I need. I need that cookie. So
Bridget has she's her provider. So this is the first thing she's going to eat is this cashew butter. We're going to be in good shape.
But what you add to this also,
ambassador
for our listeners, is that you've had a baby, as we all heard 5 months ago, and you're in tip-top shape because you're concerned about health and you work out and you run and you jog and you do all this sort of thing. You're the perfect spokesperson for this. You ought to be in the marketing campaigns for the product because you look healthy. It's not like me saying, hey, get another jar. Hey, eat another jar of cashew butter. And you look like, before I go to my heart specialist, you are the poster woman for healthy food.
A good idea. That's actually good. People like to see themselves in the products that they eat, and they want to identify with.
Well, they see her at the farmers market, but she can't be at 2 farmers markets at once. You can only be in one place. But as you know, if this product was able to be at the public market in Seattle, for example, if you had a space there, or there's ones in Portland and some of the other major cities around here, you wouldn't even necessarily have to be in any retail store. You would not have to conform to what a food chain would ask of you, like the special kind of seal tops.
It's now you and your husband and a friend are working on this. Have people like raise their hand and say, "How do I get involved?" Like the people are the fans of Moxie Nosh.
I've had a couple friends volunteer to help or say they're available anytime.
Nice.
Yeah, which is super awesome. There's no way I could do this alone. Definitely support it.
How long have you been doing it for?
We have officially been in business almost 2 years, but this is an idea I worked on for 5 years before that launch.
This is great. I'm very impressed. So I had no idea this is what Bridget was doing on her off time.
She doesn't have any off time. This is instead of sleeping.
Marketing and
this is instead of sleeping. So for our listeners, you can go to MoxieNosh.com and buy it online or read about it or take a look at. Do you have people commenting right back and telling you how much they like it or love it or want it?
We get a lot of Facebook reviews, which is pretty cool to log into Facebook and see a new review come through from a complete stranger, like nobody that I know.
Nobody you bribed to put it up there.
No.
Because you always wonder about that. It's all your friends saying how great you got to try this.
No, but that's delicious. It really is. I mean, it's like I'm not making it up. It's delicious. It's like something that you would get in a more of an upscale type scenario, restaurant or not restaurant, but store. So that's how I look at it. Even though it is available at Orange Street Food Farm and both fresh markets and
Good Food Store. And I forgot to mention earlier, Natural Grocers.
Natural Grocers, which is a great place.
It's a sleeper. Exactly. I love that place.
Every time I walk in there, I walk out with a whole cart full of stuff. I say, I didn't know we could get this here.
Yeah.
They always have good selection of things there.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we're back, we'll have our final minutes with Bridget Baxter and Moxie Nosh. Back after this. We are back with Bridget.
So, Bridget, tell me a little bit about, we alluded to it earlier, a little bit about the competition that you face out there. I mean, there are a lot of specialty, particularly when you're in a general grocery store, you're up against the Jifs and all of the world. But you're in some specialty stores that don't even carry those brands.
Competition.
I mean, the Good Food Store doesn't carry Jif or Skippy. I don't believe
they don't. No,
or Skippy for that man.
No. So who do you see as your competition? Who do you want to knock off the shelf and replace them with Moxie Nosh?
There's a lot of big competition, like you mentioned, the Jifs and the Skippies, the Justins. But there are a lot of handmade specialty brands. Wild Friends is one of them. They started just like I did and have grown their business substantially, which is awesome motivation for me. There's also just smaller companies. Big Spoon Roasters, one of them. PB Love Co. out of Denver is another one of them. But really what differentiates me is I don't add sugar into the product. And so once people kind of catch on to that, I think it starts to sell itself.
Do they have nut butter competitions where they rate them like they do barbecue and wine and all that sort of stuff?
I don't know, but we should start one.
There definitely should one because you would, I think you would win.
That's the way to smoke out the competition.
Right. You got to taste the product. I mean, that's what's going to sell the consumer, putting aside everything else.
Well, that's why Bridget's looking to get into some restaurants in 2018 so people could sample and then, boom, they can go in and buy it for their home.
Right. The first time that, Emerald, I remember tasting his banana cream pie.
Oh, my God.
And it was so great that I would drive 100 miles to get a piece of it. A nut butter pie made with Moxie Nosh could also be that kind of, that kind of product that would drive sales to, for other folks to do that. You're also doing some charitable things, though, aren't you? Aren't you going to do some things with the community? And what are those like?
We are. That's another goal in 2018 is to do a lot of giving back. So we are starting a classroom sponsorship program where once a quarter, we are going to partner with a classroom in the school district here in Missoula or the surrounding areas and give each student a jar to take home with them. And then the teacher is going to be provided a couple jars, and they just have to integrate how to use it, how to prepare a healthy snack into their lesson plan. So it's a way to get it out there, obviously in people's hands, but a way to also give back. There's a lot of kids that might not have the opportunity to ever try it, and this is a great way to do that.
Which is fantastic. So what schools? All schools?
So we're starting with a classroom in Arnie, actually this month.
Nice.
And then the goal is to create kind of like some excitement and energy around it by having an application process.
Sure.
So teachers will be able to apply, tell us why their classroom deserves to be sponsored for the quarter, and then we'll just review it case by case basis. But the goal is eventually everybody will.
Of course, which is great.
Yeah.
See, I want us to sponsor a competition for Bridget of the best new recipe using Moxie Nosh.
We can do that.
And let people out there try to figure out what they could use it for and, be first, second, and third kind of prizes for the best use of, the cashew butter or the trail mixer or the almond butter.
Sure, it's a great idea.
You haven't done that yet,
No, we haven't. No.
One, you
That's
get some
an awesome
interesting
idea.
recipes, but secondly, you get other people trying it and using it.
And maybe do
applying
that
it.
as part of the as part of what you do at the farmers market, start a competition at the beginning and, do every couple of weeks, something like that. Because that's a piece of real estate that you have that's very valuable, where you're in front of a lot of people. But that's a way to differentiate yourself, I think, is by...
right. And enter the Moxie Nosh competition and you take, and make a product with
a year's
it.
supply of Moxie Nosh.
Oh,
give them 52 jars. I mean... There are ways to get around to do that.
You're making a lot of promises on my behalf.
Yeah, don't make
Did I tell you?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did. Well, Arnie, this is wonderful.
It was great having you here.
Bridget.
We're going to continue to follow your career and the growth of Moxie Nosh, and we're always good for ideas that you may or may not try to use.
Exactly.
Thanks, you guys.
It's the cashew speaking.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Bridget. Arnie, I'll see you next week.
Take care, Scott.
Thank you for listening to What Do You Know?
I can't wait for the next show, Scott.
I'm excited too, Arnie. If you'd like to suggest a guest, send me an email at scottrichman@townsquaremedia.com. We'll see you next week. And thanks for listening to Newstalk KGVO.